Hi everybody, here's the intro. Sorry we're late. Still waiting for minutes.
I'll do a little more PR. I gotta plug my phone in though.
Hey yo, hey ya. Hey yo, hey ya. Hey yo, hey yo, 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 hey. Grandfather, Great Spirit, I send my voice your way, your way, your way, your way, oh, higher, your way, oh, higher, your oh, hey ya, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, yo way. In the moon of popping trees, when I was only 9, the voices called me from the clouds. The thunder spoke my name. 2 men of lightning slanted down, spears flashing in their hands. Hurry, child, your grandfathers wait in the rainbow's flaming land. 6 grandfathers, powers of the world, sacred hoop, the flowering tree. Make the nation live free. Make the nation live again. Live again. The vision true, the people's prayer. Their horse turned and they to the 4 quarters of the sky. 12 black horses thundering west where the storm clouds lie. White geese north with blizzard mane. Sorrel east like morning light. Buckskin south with horns of power. All the horses dance that night. 6 grandfathers, powers of the world, sacred hoop, the flowering tree. Make the nation live free. They gave the cup of living water, the bow that turns to spear. I rode the storm and struck the blue man, drowned and fear disappeared. Rain fell sweet, the grasses rose, holy trees stood tall and green. In the center of the nation's hoop, the people's heart is seen. Red road good, black road hard. Horror says I walk along, ghosts of grandfathers trail behind like morning mist and smoke. 100 shall be sacred, 100 shall be flame. The trees still bloom, the circle holds, dreamers down. These grandfathers, hear me now. West and north, east and south, sky and mother resound. With visible face, I am appealing, greening like the pleasantness I made. Your way, your way, your way, your way, your way, yeah, your way, your way. Head you through a love, grandfather, great spirit, I have seen, and I remember the pipe is lit, the circle lit, silence is broken, the old eye is falling. 6 grandfathers, powers of the world, sacred hoop, the flowering tree. Make the nation live free. 6 grandfathers, powers of the world, 6 grandfathers, powers of the world, sacred hoop, the flowering tree. Make the nation live free. Make the nation live free. Make the nation live free.
Welcome everybody to the round table, which, I guess we could go ahead and make it oblong this evening, bro. And you could have one end, I could have the other, and we just need Cat Plan to jump in here, and he could be our waiter and just ferry everything in between us. I've been messing with him about he needs to be a producer, Christos, on my show. Welcome everybody to an impromptu oblong table with Ricardo and Jason. And I better bring my voice down to radio DJ level because it looks like it's 3 a.m. where you are.
No, it's 1:14.
It is 1:14. Okay, 1:14,
Yeah.
but it's still bedtime.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was last weekend. It was at 3 a.m. because we did it on Sunday because that's the only time we all could.
The one where I dropped off and everybody freaked out and was worried about me.
Yes.
It's been a crazy week, dude. I've been helping a friend, do some moving so they could get on the road with another organization of independent activists, we'll call it. And so I've just been real busy with that. And so I dropped out and I was just moving, and then you guys have seen some of the video of everything that went down later this week. And I'm the next morning before I really like checking my Discord, which is how we keep up with each other. And I'm on the creek and I'm down in my usual spot with Jacob and there's this truck that somebody's gotten stuck and I'm a little pissed, and because this is where Jacob and I come play. And I'd just gotten on the phone with Ricardo at that point. We were videoing and Ricardo saw the truck because everybody was getting ready to I think come do a body check on me. With Sarah's plan, she sent a picture with a bucket of chicken saying, "I've got his address. Do we not have an emergency contact number? Where is he?" At which point I did put in the emergency contact number because I knew that week was not stopping there.
This is cool, man. You need to know where everybody is at all times.
And as Sarah pointed out, that day was my first key incident this week because if you remember, you and I were on the phone and see, Sarah, check this out. So I'm on the phone with him both times too, okay? So I'm on the phone with him in the creek and we're videoing and we're tripping out over this truck that's stuck. And I still haven't remembered that tag, man. You need to remember the last 4 of that tag because I bet it's not going to be there tomorrow. But we're videoing, and I'm showing him the creek and we're just tripping out on that, right? Well, it did not occur to me, that the key was in my pocket when I pulled the phone out. And so key was lost, but there was another key at the house. So it was fine. I had the key ferried to me, but I told Ricardo at the time, I was like, man, the day's so busy right now. This is like the only half hour. I'm going to get alone at the creek. I was like, this is intentional, because Ricardo said he was sorry because it's like, it's because I called you. I'm like, no, man, look, I sent him a picture of me sitting on the creek with Jacob.
Yeah, it's so weird you having the car keys on your pocket, right? So
yeah.
Usually you wear it in your ear or something. So
well, I know, exactly. But
it's in the pocket, right?
Well, I usually have pockets that have it's a bathing suit. It's got a little latch back here, and so I'll latch it on there. But I didn't have those trousers on that day, and so it just went in the pocket. And I'm usually pretty diligent about putting the phone in the other pocket for that reason. But, I don't get a lot of calls, and I wasn't expecting to pick it up. Because, y'all, I had literally just come off the road. I was, right off the road to the creek, get Jacob there. And I look at my phone, and I'm like, holy fuck, they're coming to look for me. They're worried, I'm like, no, look, see, I'm here, and I'm stuck,
Prove
but
it.
anyway.
Prove it. How do we know
now,
it's not a double?
Tonight, to explain the disheveledness you're encountering here, so I just sat down here about 10 minutes ago because I was recording with Dave from Dave's Multiverse. We recorded for 4 hours, 3 hours and 45 minutes today with Sarah Braley, and that'll be in a couple of weeks. So that's we're giving that time because the girls from Universe Unveiled, who I'm sure in the chat, I haven't looked yet, interviewed and has introduced us at the Institute of Natural Philosophy too. And it was an amazing time. We had tech issues. That was the only reason it really took so long. But it was an amazing time getting to know another independent researcher, and that was really beautiful for me as sort of a member of the Institute, and all of that, to see it growing and to see it growing appropriately with somebody that sort of ticks all the boxes we want to tick for each other, it seems anyway. So that was a good afternoon, but then my daughter needed some petrol in her car so that she could go, about, and she stays busy too, so she had her few moments in bed, and she's like, go get me some gas before I gotta go to Harper's. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I go get gas, and guess what? Ricardo and I haven't talked in a while, and Ricardo, there's Vincent, and Ricardo calls me again, and I'm in this car that I never drive, and I pull up to the gas pump, and I'm like, yo, Ricardo, I gotta go, I gotta put gas in real quick, and I get out, and I leave the key in the console, as I want to do, and she has all of her She has in my car, man. I mean, I don't, nobody's gonna steal my shit, and if they do, good. But I need a new one. my radio went out this week, dude, and all the miles I've been putting, and that's bad if you're me when your radio goes out, man, and you don't have the music. So I've been riding around all week with my phone, like sort of one hand driving, just listening to the music. But to the second key, so I'm going and gassing up Isabella's car just now, right before our show here, Vincent. Welcome. I'll finish the story and we'll bring you on in. And I pull up to the Murphys, and I'm on the phone with Ricardo, and I get off the phone with Ricardo again. And my daughter has the other 3 set to automatic lock, for her safety. And so I get out and I bump, I guess, the lock on the car doors and shut it. And I finish gassing up, and I go to, oh. I mean, I didn't have to look for the keys. I knew they were in there. Oh.
2 times.
Sent Ricardo a picture going, man, you motherfucker. There's you and keys and me. Do not mix. But all was well. Again, I got another 20 minutes to sit down. I'd literally just ended that last podcast. And a guy came, man. Look, I got my 20 minutes there, and right when I'm thinking, okay, I'm about out of rocks to look at, because this is right near Mobilla site where I was stuck. So honestly, guys, I was over, and I found some Apache tears. I was thinking of you, Vincent. That'll be our intro to you. And I was walking around looking for rocks, is what I do. And I'm going, okay, my time's kind of ending near. And I look up, and here comes a record truck with a Powell record truck, and he's got another truck loaded on. And I'm like, this might be my motherfucker, right? And my phone, hey, is that you by the gas station? It is, indeed. Man, he pulls in, hops out. I'm open,
You see
and I'm
me
here.
in my car? Am I in my car?
Right,
I'm
no,
not, so
it's me. Man, he just he's like, dude, you're right on the way to where I was going. I was like, perfect. So he unlocked it, and I swear it was 3 minutes, not even. And I raced here, and here we are, Vincent. So you're not really late at all. What's your excuse, though? Now that I just got my hall pass, you better be. Are you going to beat that? If you want this hall pass or not.
Well, I was picking up my daughter, and it was raining a lot all the way back, so I had to drive slowly. So that's my excuse.
Okay, well, you arrived at home safe, so that's fine. Let me just give some attention.
Excuse, I see. So Vincent,
Yeah.
if I go with the harried extreme, and Vincent's going to try I got it.
Yeah. So let me just address the chat.
Yeah,
So
let's
people
see.
is asking how is our weekend? Well, our weekend, in my part, it's going well. I had a visit from a friend that I know
What's up, Moss?
since my 18 years of age. So it's been the constant friend since that time. Some of you might know him. Is Michael, the man behind Multiverse? That you have Aaron, a novel just coming out, and illustrated. How do you call it?
Is this
Graphic.
the guy-
A
is this the guy
graphic.
you
I
need
can't
Gary
remember
to-
the name. It's
you
so
need Gary to
stupid.
look at?
Yeah, and
Say his name again.
it's Michael. It's multi. It's I'm having a complete blank. He's. I have to go in because I don't want to say the name wrong. But
Okay,
it's because of
friends
Dave.
of the show.
Dave confused me because Dave is Dave's multiverse, right?
Right.
And Michael's is I can tell you right in a second. Just open my DMs.
All right, I'm gonna give you your lead in here. All right, friends of the show. This is a heads up. We're trying to get the attention of Mr. Gary Buechler in regards to a particular artist, and this is what we're trying to present, also known as Nerdrotic.
What is this? Oh, it's 2024. What is going on here? Oh, I'm on the wrong X. I was in the Institute X. That's why I was not finding
You
it.
need your person.
I was seeing Michael Collins' message. Don't forget the link. What? It's 2024.
Wrong, Michael.
So it's Middleverse.
What are you doing, Jacob?
His name, his work, his body of work is called Middleverse. And I was with the books today in my hand, and I already forgot. I'm sorry. Now I'm lost. Where are we? We are here.
You can tell
So
what time it is there.
I wanted to address that, and I want to address this that I have here because Sarah just reminded me, and very well. And Vince, you should be interested with this. So this is the first conference on stone megaliths in the area of, help me here, Jason, New York?
Where are you? Yeah, Putnam County Veterans Memorial Park. So, okay, you're. This is the conference that I just got done talking about, right?
Yeah.
Saturday, August 8th, 11 a.m., 7 p.m. Yeah, I just got done speaking with Sarah Braley, who this is her baby, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away because Dave over at Multiverse would kill me because I accidentally went live today when we were recording with Sarah, and by accidentally I mean I don't use Streamio, and so when I went into the recording I clicked my little buttons for YouTube and X, and you know. Like you do. I always go live with Dave, man. It's what you do, right? And we don't realize we're just carrying on. In fact, I asked him to show you how little I realized. I asked him, I was like, Dave, we recording or live? And, you know, he's like, recording. I was like, okay, cool. Either way, you know, and good.
Fine,
I don't know.
You keep recording. I am live.
I don't know, 12, 15 minutes in, all of a sudden, he's like, is Jacqueline, what? Why is there? And we're looking, why is there a chat? What's going on? Who's talking? Oh, I went live. So your preview is available on my X page and my YouTube page.
Anyway, if you want to learn about Sarah,
if you want to learn about Sarah,
you can go to Universe Unveiled where you have her interview.
Her full interview to beat the one. It's going to be 2 weeks. We had a lot of technical issues today, and everything for a reason. That's definitely going to delay getting it out because editing will be a big part of today's episode. And it was just like Wi-Fi issues and stuff, standard, but it really drew it out. But what I'll say about it is this, to anybody interested in checking this out, is Sarah is an exceptionally genuine human being. She's an exceptionally authentic woman. Vincent, I even brought your name up to her because many of her qualities with, you know, the way she produces the slides and everything like you do, and her tenaciousness with these subjects and her preservationist attitude. She's so careful, and she's doing experiments at the sites, you know, taking vinegar to test to see if shit's copper. You know, she's just so into it that it very much echoed, you know, qualities I know of you, right? And she's just that. She's an exemplary, independent researcher, and she's living and breathing this stuff. So much so that she says her husband is just over it. But, you know, that's the way it is when you have a calling, and she seems most definitely to have a calling, and her heart's in it. So I highly recommend anybody in the area to go check this out, Set in Stone Megalithic Conference.
You can even
Putnam
fly
County
because
Veterans.
it's free. It's a full
It's
conference
free. It's
that
a
is
whole
free.
day. She's going to have I saw they had an itinerary up earlier she showed me, and they're going to have sound baths. It's in a big park with like a nice, you know, permanent sort of stage. What do you call those? Pavilion, you know, type atmosphere. And she's going to have all sorts of local artists, and there's like 8 different speakers, and she wraps it up at the end. And it's really her baby, you know, then this is the first sort of inaugural one. So anybody that could be in the area and is interested in this megalithic sort of question about, dude, look, she showed me a map of the Northeast and had all of the cairns, you know, these things that she had found and mapped out. By the way, you need to talk to her about telluric lines, right? But my mind immediately, dude, I saw the maps of Ireland when you zoom in on a county of Ireland for looking for stone cairns, and it's like pimples everywhere. It was just like that, you know, and so it seems to be such a piece to a bigger story that we don't hear a lot about. So well worth checking out. Anybody that's in the area, and it's being put on.
She has speakers in favor and she has speakers against.
Correct.
Those talking, yeah.
She's very open-minded. She's very protected. And what really, I can just tell you this much from the interview because it's obvious on her. What means the most to her heart is the native peoples being able to tell these stories and come back to these places that they were removed from and forced from, you know. And so she has a very, very strong ethic that she evidences with the way she handles this stuff, and that being her driving force, you know. That much I can say. And guys, if you need any more backup, just look at her email. Determined, 2424. I know Ricardo passed me a piece of paper to look at with her name on it, and it had her email. And I said, I'm there's my vote. Look at that email, dude. Shit, let her try.
So again, if you are in the neighborhood or if you can afford a flight, it's well worth it. So, and it's free, open to everybody.
Won't be disappointed, I don't
So
think.
there you have it. And now let's go back to Vince.
Vincent, Apache tears. I found some of those, and I never knew what to call them. And I have so many of them. I just knew they were cool and looked like hands had obviously, you know, been to them. And I saw you post a picture, and Vince is constantly educating us. And I just didn't realize that that's what those things were, man. And I picked up a couple out there the other day behind that stuck truck.
Oh wow, that's great that you found some.
It
Those
is,
are
and I think of you now every time I do, because for this whole time, man, they've always been to me because I don't research a lot. I go firsthand, and you know, I like to experience and find it, right? And to me, I just could tell they were important. They would have been important to these people where I'm finding all this other stuff, and I knew it was like kind of obsidian and little smears of whatever else was on the obsidian, right? And so I just knew, Ricardo, they're special. I've got boxes and collections of them. I just never knew what, and he had a name for it, and I was very impressed. Yeah, you're teaching me a lot.
oh
That was
yeah, thank you. Apache tears. I could go get my a jar
That's
of
what
them.
I'm
It's like
saying,
about
right?
this big. Like
There's so many of them,
they're
Ricardo.
they're
You're like, this is something. I may not know what it is, but this is something. Yeah.
But what are we exactly talking about? Because I don't know.
Well,
so Apache tears are like obsidian nodules. They're basically rounded spheres of volcanic glass, and there's a lot of tribal legends and stories about them, and those stories pertain to, well, tears, like that their tears turned to stone, and basically they became the Apache tears, and it was essentially dealing with the invasion and the loved ones that they lost
so
during the
the one I had
invasion.
closest. Oh, sorry, guys. The one I had closest even looks like it almost, you know, it's got a pointy shape to it. I'm gonna have to turn on some light for the audience. Okay, so
Is that obsidian?
essentially you've got like, yeah. Let me wet it for you. Sorry, I've already cleaned it.
Now it is cleaned, yeah.
No,
That's
it's already, most of this will go in the bed. Like when I find these small pieces, man, they come home in my bathing suit. And so when I'm getting the shower or the bath, I just take them right out and rinse them. You know what I mean? Like immediately and sort of clean them so I can
I
see
thought
what's
that
what.
obsidian was like my t-shirt.
Well, now it
but
is if you
glowing.
break it. If you break it, it certainly is, right? We can break these. And there's tons of them, dude. But you've also got like some of this white is, you know, obsidian, at least around here, right? Now, around here, you can find lightning-formed obsidian, and I have found it in upturned trees in the creek. You know, it's all over the place when the lightning hits this tree, and the sandy, you know, roots, it makes this ball of black obsidian, right? It's not volcanic, but it's found naturally and in all over the creeks, right? But you also it forms like an agate on the outside. So the center you get your perfect mirror rainbow obsidian that you're talking with your glass, you know, cut. I've actually got cuts on me from just messing around in my hand, talking on the phone and fumbling a new piece,
very
you know,
sharp.
obsidian. It's razor sharp, right? But so in the center, you've got that. But then out towards the edges, as you know, the heat radiates, you form there's an agate. And in fact, a specific one called neon blue agate, right? And I'd found a ball of this and split it myself. And so you get a lot of these neon blue colored. But anyway, so a lot of the white you see off of it is just sort of the agate that forms away from that heat ball. Yeah, he's got tons of them. I mean, so do I, but these were in next to my bath. That's the same day I found, you'll like that one, Vince. That's
What is
that's
that?
rock. It's rock with a hole in it, you know. You could call it hagstone by one set of lore, but being as how it's Mortar Creek, which is known heavy native presence, you know, you're not going to call it hagstone. It would have had something sort of just like this one with the line going down.
Yeah, that's really shining. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like these were all behind that truck, dude, that was stuck, you know, where his tire was spinning. I mean, you just reach your hand down and, you know, it's all this stuff.
Yeah. That flakes very thin layers.
It does, yeah. Obsidian is crazy, man. I've cut myself, like I said, several times just touching
Look
it.
at that.
Vincent is obsessive with everything in the best possible way.
Okay. You see that one?
That's a big one. That's a hunky one. Yeah, I don't find them that big around here. I just find it could be because it's different. You know, they're using the, again, localized obsidian from the lightning
And
strikes.
where are they found, Vince?
Vincent.
Yeah, so they're found all through from New Mexico up to Wyoming and North Dakota, South Dakota. I mean, they're pretty spread out. They're a volcanic s- obsidian. I mean, the thought is that these were sprayed out of a volcano and they rained down from the sky basically onto the ground. And
So I don't call my obsidian Apache tears because mine's localized lightning obsidian then.
yeah,
Something
look how
new.
shiny they are. They're amazing. Like some of these are incredibly polished.
You good, babe? Okay.
Yeah, I literally have more than a coffee jar full of these, and just every time I find them, I save them, and they're just like heirlooms.
Yeah, but my question is more like, do you find them near sites or between sites, anywhere, in mounds, and near mounds?
Well, I found most of these in New Mexico and Wyoming. They were when I was in the Boy Scouts. I would collect them on hiking trips.
So, we miss anything in the chat? No, we didn't.
No.
So, how was your week, Ricardo? I know you can't talk about your project, but you can say project instead of what it is.
Well, it was a big rush against time, but it was done and sent, and today should have been presented. So I'm curious to see if they were killed or they liked what they saw.
So Rick was boots on the ground, moving some old school hard copies of this project. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I wish we could get an early report. That's for sure. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful, man.
Yeah, he'll tell us all about it next weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful reception, dude.
He's finally on the road with his RV, so
Yeah.
he must be happy. So Vince, what do you have for us today?
Oh, this week has been exciting with updates and news. I reached out to the Eastern Band of Cherokee and asked them about the place names for Mount Pisgah and whether they could confirm it that it's indeed Canuga and possibly El Ku from Kofi de Cheke. And they said they would get back to me and they were going to reply back hopefully on Monday. So they're actually working on that. And then an article appeared in the Haywood Journal about the Mount Pisgah site the very next day, and it said they're working on floodplain renewal, but they didn't even acknowledge any of the native history of the site, and so they said they were going to tear out basically 500,000 cubic yards of the site and move it to try to improve the floodplain and flood zone. So I wrote them a letter. I'm like, well, okay, I support the project, and I also wanted to bring to your attention that this site is an important native mortuary landscape, and it has earth lodges and Indian burial grounds and extensive history there. And have they considered contacting the Eastern Band of Cherokee or the any native resources or any NAGPRA resources about this before they start this massive earth moving at Garden Creek? And they're like, no, we didn't even know that they were going to do this. And so apparently they went through this. Well, it's a preliminary plan, but they were going to start earth moving in a serious way on Garden Creek, and publish this article on Thursday. And so hopefully, now that I've reached out to them, they're going to reconsider the importance of the site and preserving it, and not just tearing it up with backhoes. But that was kind of a shocking thing that happened. And they said they were going to review the plans and get back to me as well on Monday or Tuesday next week. And
So they were going to do it again.
yeah, they were literally going to tear it up. They were gonna like take the site and like they made this article about the flood zone being difficult to live in, and so it's interesting because it ties in with the rainmaker theory and story, and how it relates to the images that were found at Mount Pisgah.
Getting a lot of rain right now, aren't we, Vince?
Yeah, a lot of rain.
A lot of water, record-breaking water right now.
Is it raining all day today?
It's same in most this part of the country, you know, the southeast for sure. We've we had like 13 inches in parts of Bama and Florida over the past few days. It's a lot of water. There was one part I saw of Louisiana, dude. This sounds unbelievable, but it's true. It got 26 inches of rain in a day. Somebody did the math on how much snow that would have been if it fell as snow, and it was something like 500 feet. It is crazy.
Wow, that is
so much water.
And so I have put
Vince,
together.
do we have this week, just while it was in my head, keep where you were, but do we have this week an update on the FOIA request regarding Cahokia and the permit?
Oh yeah, I kind of went over that last week, but I could show.
Yeah, sorry, I was, yeah.
Oh, and Vince, I'm sorry I haven't looked at your stuff, but tomorrow
it's okay, don't
I'm
get
back.
distracted. I'm sorry.
Tomorrow I'm back to work, and I'll look at it I'll give it my full attention tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's cool. So yeah, let me pull up the
I
FOIA.
have only about 15 of those kinds of things to do, to look at
Oh,
and
goodness,
give a report.
lot to do. So, all right. So yes, we got a response. I'm going to share my screen here so I can talk about.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah. So this was after the 5 days, right?
Yeah, actually, they sent this on Friday, at the last minute, like right at 4:45 p.m. on Friday, and so what it says is here is, well, they had a no adverse effect concurrence. Basically, they said, well, Monk's Mound, the SHPO objection in the project was filed, and the formal record included a no adverse effect concurrence. So basically, they approved it without having any archaeological permit, without having any actual excavation permit. The permit said no adverse effect, but they approved it. And these are the actual objections that the archaeologists voiced in the case. and the timeline that they voiced about it.
Yeah,
These
but
are,
Vince, if you think about it, right? How many cubic feet did they remove?
they said 80,000 cubic feet were
So you
removed.
see, it's just a tiny itsy bitsy of sand, and we show the pictures. It caused no damage to the mound. They just cut it in half. So, and
Wow.
throw the dirt away without looking at it even.
Well, the
So
amazing thing
no
is
damage to
that,
the hose. To the hose, there was no damage. That's
well,
what they
the,
were telling you.
Vincent, you're going to
There's
trip
no
out on
damage to the
this.
machines.
Sorry, I'm not interrupting. Yeah, you done? Okay, Vincent, just real quick, that lady who I said reminded me of you and just her tenacity and her love for the game of research. She mentioned, when I mentioned you, I mentioned that you were this Cahokia project of yours, right? And I said the bulldozer, and she said, I know, I was there.
oh
So
my gosh,
apparently
really?
she was there to witness it too. It's, yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's
right?
amazing.
Connections.
Wow, she was working there, or
I
she
don't
was.
know, or she probably maybe heard about it and went. We didn't dive
Oh,
into it. It was like I said, it wasn't topic. We had a lot of pauses due to tech issues, and during one of those, I was just mentioning we were glad to have her, hanging out at the Institute Discord, and I was mentioning your name and your work because you reminded me of each other. And yeah, so what came out of her mouth was I was there, and then Dave pops back in. Okay, we ready? So
oh my gosh, that's amazing.
yeah, that's all I have to report, but it's quite the connection for sure.
Wow. So yeah, the response I got was there was all these objections to the case as it was progressing from August 7th, 2007 through October 18th, 2007. These are the objections. Tim Pocketot said he was alarmed. Wilson forwarded photos. And then there was urgency from Kidder. These are the head archaeologists of Illinois. Koldehoff had shock. Emerson expressed a broad objection. Hacker had internal controls implemented. And then McGelrath had an oversight proposal. So he said he's going to implement an oversight committee. Pocketot endorsed that. And then Len Stell warned of international embarrassment about this. On September 5th, my dad, Larry Barrows, requested a FOIA permit asking for an archaeology permit. Well, there wasn't one. There was only a no adverse effect permit, basically saying you can do this as long as you don't have any adverse effect. And then on the September 14th, post project as built and end summary requests were held. And on October 18th, Emerson asked for a proposal and a 707 decision documented. 707 means no adverse effect.
Right.
So basically, they're saying they objected. I mean, Emerson objected earlier. He had a broad objection on August 8th, but by October 18th, he asked for a no adverse effect documentation. And the later formal posture was the project investigations were cleared. So they basically just cleared it, and it was
Yeah.
then left like that. And so all of these are the dates and letters that were in the FOIA documentation. They sent me over
No archaeological permit and just kind of crammed through at the end.
right. No permit for archaeology, no permit for digging in a grave, nothing but no adverse effect permit. It said they weren't going to have any adverse effects, but obviously there were a lot of adverse effects and unfortunate developments, and this has been sharply criticized as
Yeah,
an
that's a fine
international
report if you're doing, a driveway in your front yard. Well, maybe not my front yard because, there's a lot of artifacts there too. But, that's one thing to look at the land and go, there's no adverse effect on the rest of the land, the structure, the land won't erode, yada, yada. Why is that enough for the largest known archaeological
Because they still have the
mound
other
in
side of the
America?
mound.
Well, yeah, and
You don't
well, the
need two
interesting
sides of
thing,
the mound. You just need one. So
it's a four-sided mound. If they take out one side, at least they'll have three left, right?
Well, now let's not forget that the archaeologists, as just explained by Vince, were generally objecting here, right? That's
Yeah.
why they didn't get the archaeological permit.
I'm jesting, but the thing is, this is a place that is known to not only be a sacred place, it's a place of burial. Correct?
Right.
Correct,
Yeah, it's a
Vince?
burial place. That's right.
Thank you. So, even in a place that wasn't considered to be a site of burial, let's think about doing this to a pyramid in Egypt, right? Not burial in the sense of a tomb, but in the sense of it's all combined with the earth and the spirit and so on and so forth.
Right.
Some guy says, "Oh, I'm just gonna take one of the sides of the pyramid because it causes no damage to it," right? It just doesn't make sense. How can you say that if you take a side, a complete side of a structure that is considered sacred and has burials in it, causes no damage? Because you saw the images. They went to the middle of the structure.
Well, they exposed a charnel house too, which is a burial of like a cremation, a human cremation
Yeah.
was dug up by this backhoe, and they dug into this limestone vault, and
Vault,
it was
yeah.
like a collapsed.
And there was like a
cell.
cedar post, wasn't there, Vincent?
Yeah, there was a cedar post with limestone slabs that were 3 feet long, and the cedar post was cut off. Someone cut it off with a saw, and they didn't do any testing on it. They never did any scientific, evaluation to determine how old it was, or anything. And no testing was done. They just buried it all, and I don't even know why wouldn't they? I mean, this was extremely amazing find, and they never even did any science on it.
And to me, it was never cleared, aside from the point that it causes no damage, but it was never clear to me why they wanted to do it. There's something behind it, because the
Yeah.
explanation on why they were doing it makes
Yeah.
no sense to me, because there is no signs of the mound starting to crumble
That's
or
right.
defacing itself. It even had grass on top of it, so it
Yeah,
was perfectly
Let's
stable.
be fair. On its own, it might make sense, Ricardo. Okay, on its own. If that were the only issue, right? If we were just sitting here, if everything was legit and all permitted, and they found stuff and it was all logged appropriately and done like any archaeological dig elsewhere without a massive backhoe on top of it, then if that was the only factor, like we didn't understand it structurally, that would be one thing. But it's the fact that Vincent also has outlined to us quite well that not only do you have your question, like what is it actually doing for the pile of dirt, right? But you've got on the other side what seems to be a rammed through legislative process, basically, right? Where they're going, hey, listen, the dudes we're supposed to ask are kind of objecting, right? And you go back and go, what do we do? Well, we've got this one report that says we won't damage anything. Okay, well, we run with that and we ignore them, right? And that seems to be what kind of happened here.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it looks desperate. It looks
Yeah.
like someone really high above said,
was the
"I want
motivation?
that done, and you
Yeah.
have to find a solution." And since they didn't have the backup of any of the historical groups, any of the researchers, any of the academics, because Vince has shown us dozens and dozens of people saying that we
Right.
couldn't do this, it sounds to me like desperation, something they had to do and couldn't say no.
So you
'Cause I
think they
don't
you
see-
think they were after something?
I think they were after something, yes.
I think it's plausible.
It might be as
I mean,
simple. It might be as simple as let's prove there is nothing there. That's just a pile of dirt. Could be as simple as that. You understand? So some developer wanted the land or something like that. Let's prove that there's nothing there.
It does seem like somebody with high enough clout, if they wanted to perhaps look into an old legend that there was something in the middle of the largest mound in America, that they could probably arrange pretty quickly to have bulldozers on top of it to dig real quick in the
They
cover.
go
of-
to greater stands.
Yeah.
There is. I showed the pictures. I think there is this castle built in a very small island in the middle of the Tagus River. Right? It's a very small island. And there is this ancient myth that there is a Templar treasure buried on that island in that castle. So to give you an idea of how far these people go, they found a mason that's probably a Templar to become the mayor of the city, to create the center of studies of the castle, and they have full authority for the last 30 years on everything that is done on the castle. And they are looking for it. They don't do it openly, but they are looking for it. So when these people think that there is something there to be found, they can go to great extents. That's not what I'm saying that happened here. I would much quicker believe in some crazy development idea, just trying to prove that there's nothing there to be preserved. Right? We want the space. It's being wasted by all this sacred, and nobody comes here, and why should it be here, right? So
I mean, when I was there at Cahokia, I heard the director of the museum society say, "I'm really looking forward to doing this maintenance work on the mound." And
Sure he
I heard
was.
him from the other room. He said it so loud that I could hear him across the hall and from the other room. And it kind of made me scratch my head, like, why is he so excited about maintenance work? This was before it happened, literally like the week before it happened. And then they went in and they started doing this. So this was something he had been involved in and been planning. I mean, he knew what he was going after. I think he probably had an idea that he would find something there. They might have done geophysics to determine what something was there. They wanted to get in there and see it. But I think he knew what he was after, and I think they did this on purpose.
well, that could be the reason to find something. The question is, did they find it?
And I
Because
mean,
we'll
they-
never know. So
well,
did
they
they
found
find
the
it?
limestone slabs, and they
Yeah,
found
they left. They left. Excuse me, y'all. It's been a long week. Sorry for the yawning. They found signs, man. There was a slab, right, Vincent? There was a post. I mean, they.
yeah. There was a chamber. I mean, they dug into a charnel house chamber basically, and I mean, it was like that. I think that's what they were after. They didn't know what was there, and they wanted to find it. And I think that they glossed this over as maintenance work, but it wasn't maintenance. I mean, this was like cut and run. I mean, they got in there with backhoes and they tore out this. Look at these responses. Tim Pocketot was shocked. He said, there's excavations at Monk's Mound. I'm in contact with IHPA, but to my knowledge, there was no screening, not even careful stockpiling of the fill. And yes, they had a trackhoe digging into the northwest corner of the mound. Ian Hacker said they weren't supposed to cut into intact fill. Maybe you could tell I'm upset. And then T.R. Kidder said, this is an FYI, but state of Illinois has begun stabilization of Monk's Mound and now has an exposure 10 meters by 15 meters on the east face. One of the students, Tim Schilling, was trying to do some salvage work in front of the backhoes, and the profile has been remarkable. Lots of cool basket loading. He calls it a once in a lifetime opportunity. Tom Emerson says, "We are only aware of this project because of our district surveyor drive by the mound and saw the gouge. The photos he provided are self-explanatory, but it's hard not to conclude that severe damage has been done to intact deposits of the eastern face of Monk's Mound. I am not aware of any consultation by Dr. Kelly or the IHPA with any of the archaeological community as to the advisability or the technology employed to undertake this project. At the time of the first lump, I was chief archaeologist for the IHPA. We convened at the panel of Cahokia archaeologists, IAS members, Dr. Griffin and Dr. Wendarf, and in the end, the consensus was made that that remediation of the large slump would do more damage than the slump itself. So they actually said they were not going to do anything. You know, they agreed not to do anything, and then so somebody at the site changed their mind, and they just they went at this with a backhoe and with a mission.
So let me ask you this, because our audience may not know. What is
doesn't
the
look good.
consensus? No. What is the consensus amongst natives? At least it is to those that I've talked to and learned from. What is the consensus to do remaining to their mounds, their burials, their sacred spaces? The consensus is always let nature take its course. So even if there is maintenance jobs to be done, they would be the ones to say we want to do it, or no, we want to time take its course on the mound, right? That's the only step. There's no more. Even archaeologists have no say in my perspective. I know archaeologists don't agree with me because they say, "Oh, NEPRA it's stopping everything." Well, NEPRA has some very negative aspects of it, but there is good aspects too. That is, if you follow it, you don't mess up with existing sites as long as they are belonging or recognized from this or that tribe or this or that culture. And in here, there's no doubt, it's Monk's Mound. It's a huge place.
Yeah, even though they cut into 80,000 cubic feet of the mound, that's only 3% of the site of the mound itself. So the mound is so big that that's like less than 5% of the mound volume.
Yeah, it's bigger than the Great Pyramid, right? You said
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the
But-
footprint is bigger than that of the Great Pyramid.
And some mounds, like 30,000 cubic feet, would be a big mound. I mean, that would be like an accomplishment. But it's only 3% or so of this mound. So that just shows the incredible volume and the incredible amount of work that went into it. And the fact that they were not supposed to be cutting into intact mound fill is the issue. They didn't have a permit for it. They weren't authorized to do that. And even so, they issued a no adverse effect record for this.
Just out of curiosity, right? Because we're talking about looking for treasures or looking for items with some significance to certain groups. This is all speculation. What they did is damage the mound, but this is just speculation. I'm just connecting that with something that
Burials.
our Sarah just sent me. There is the founder and creator of Ubisoft that has the Assassin's Creed series just died in a plane crash. And that's a game completely talking about looking into stuff
Wow.
and finding ancient artifacts, and it's not a game, it's many games, but it could be one of those things. But the thing is, explain to me, the guy that you heard saying I can't wait to do it, what is he specifically?
He was the president of the Cahokia Archaeological Society. Larry Kinsella is his name. And
So this is done by the guy that supposedly should protect the site above all things, is the guy
Yes.
that ordered the destruction, right?
right.
So, and because it didn't involve any archaeologists, and he is the president of the archaeological
Society.
site.
Right.
That's what's wild, dude. If we were in Egypt, okay, and think of it, this thing's the footprint of the pyramid. This is the American pyramid, dude. If we were in Egypt and we said we want to take a couple of blocks out of the pyramid for stabilization, you would have to have Zahi Hawass up your ass for 9 months wanting to know who your great-great-great-grandmother had dinner with to find out if you were pure
And
enough or
after
whatever
that, he
to
would
pass
say
the
no.
test. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
the logistics would be insane. There wouldn't be this mess of archaeologists say no, basically broadly object was the term you use, but yet and still the guy who runs the site as manager crams it through because he says, well, the pyramid won't fall down. Yeah, that
No, he did it because the pyramid to him was falling down. That's his excuse. That side was crumbling, which it wasn't. Clearly, it wasn't.
Yeah, first they claimed that it was having a slick and slide or like a massive landslide effect, but it really wasn't. I mean, it was perfectly fine the way it was, and it would not have hurt to leave it.
You have rubber nets to put on top of the earth, and then grass grows in it and it stabilizes. You don't need to dig a mound.
Ricardo, those of us that live in mound country, we are already quite familiar with the great threat of mound landslide and collapse. It takes people every year. I mean, by the zeros, really, I've never heard of that happening ever. Not fucking once.
But yeah, I mean, these
Great news! A fish just drowned in the ocean. Apparently, he drank too much water.
It's like, what the fuck?
But I mean, these
Big
are
pile of dirt's going to fall down, is it? Okay. Interesting. Interesting theory, sir. Continue on and tell me what treasure you're after now, please. Quit lying to me.
And when they started digging it up, they found all these colorful layers of clay and different earth layers. These are non-local earth materials, so they had to have been brought in from distances far away. In some cases, from Pennsylvania, from Indiana, even things like blue clay, red clay, yellow. I mean, they were alternating different colors and different thicknesses throughout, and it was amazing. Like these were selected for purpose, and the thought is, I mean, there's an article that was written about this called Da Vinci's of Dirt. Well, these may have been images they created with the different colors of clay and different earth materials, like a veneer. So they may have actually created a veneer on the mound in image.
Now we know how they created the colors for the German flag. Because that's what it was on that mound.
Yeah, I mean, well, the interesting thing is Poverty Point, Shiloh Mounds, and Cahokia all had this in common. So this was not unique to Cahokia, but these other mounds used that type of technique in colorful veneers. At Shiloh Mound in Tennessee, they had a sun circle that they excavated, and it was made out of clay in the ground. It was actually earthen, like a sand painting type of arrangement of a sun circle with a cross in the middle. And so, yes, the Indians were making images in clay, and this is no exception. The colors that they used are amazing. They're vivid. It's like being the Da Vinci's of dirt. You know, they literally made images out of the clay.
Well, my chat is glitching, so I don't know if people are commenting or not, because my chat is doing literally this, going down and up.
Well, I have some interesting other research to share. This was about boat iconography. So, speaking of, I think you said Sarah, right? Is the one that's has done a presentation on they had boats or we had boats.
Yes.
We have boats. That's a saying that was developed over the course of studying the copper conundrum. We had boats, y'all. In other words, modern man has been around for what, 300,000 years. We've even got skeletons in China saying plus 1 million. Okay, and we're telling us that that all of human history is recorded over 6,000. No, because for 300,000 years we were just the same, Vincent, like me and you. We had the same brains, the same capacities. So absolutely, we would have made boats. So the saying is, we had boats, y'all. Yeah.
So this is exciting. I did some research to compare with iconographic boats from ancient times and compare it with the Book of Wild, and I compared it with Burroughs Cave. I know that's kind of a bad term, Burroughs Cave, but in fact they did have a lot of boat imagery from Burroughs Cave.
Oh, I'm changing the channel. He mentioned Burroughs Cave.
Burroughs Cave.
I'm out of here.
Oh, okay. Well then, how about Florida? There's Florida copper and medallions that are made of copper, silver, and gold. They did mass spectroscopy on these, and they determined that there's from the gold and silver is from Colombia, and the copper is pure, like from Michigan. Mm-hmm. It's pure copper. And then the Wexstone had a boat on it. So I'm going to show examples of this that are exciting.
I was asked to press this button. Just a second. It's coming somehow.
Okay. So, well, take a look at this. These are the different eras.
I'm trying, but I
So
think
what-
I
Is
cannot
there a
do it.
sea shanty coming?
No, I can't do this, Sarah, while Vince is screen sharing. It doesn't accept it. So in the interval where it's changing
Pull
slides,
off real
I'll do
quick,
it.
Vince. Pull off. Stop sharing for 1 second, Vince.
Oh, okay.
I'm reading his mind. I didn't need the message. I see where he's going. Like I I said, a sea shanty.
This is from Universe Unveiled, by the way. So.
Bravo.
Sorry,
Well
Vince.
done.
Carry on.
Well
carry
done.
on.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, so what I did is I pulled the Scandinavian rock art, and these images are organized by dates, so the chronology. These are mostly from, it shows the periods from 1200 BC to 900 BC in the different areas. The Iberian boat symbols here, Scandinavian rock art and bronzes, the different images across those periods. And so what I did is compared that. I asked AI to compare that with the known published literature from North America, starting with the Book of Wild. Well, these are the examples that came up and what the results were. And so page 5, it shows these boats, and it says, hey, this matches the Odense style, which is a period from 1300 to 500 BC. The crescent hull and mast upright with a stay-like bracing. The finials, not animal head prows, but the mast's standing figure. So this is, clearly a boat. And then there's this symbol, which looks like a person sitting in a boat or laying on the bottom of a boat, inside of the boat. And so this oval body represents the bottom or the stern or prow of the boat.
Here,
Bow.
because if this was ancient aliens, that would be obviously a ship. But in here, it is a boat.
Yeah, and this is the curved hull, basically.
Definitely a boat.
And then, so this one is dated to 1300 to 1100 BC. And then the next one is, again, from about 1000 BC. This is a example from the Book of Wild, representing the flat keel going through the water, the V-shaped pattern as as they pass across the water. And then there's the herringbone filled hull, which is similar to examples from 900 to BC to 500 BC. The hatched hull had a triangle that could be representing a sail. Then the next one is a Mount Pisgah artifact that is a boat-like bowl. It's in the shape of a boat. It has bottom flat bottom with sides straight and the pointed ends like a stern and bow of a boat. And it's crosshatched all over, so that's a powerful symbol of power-filled iconography.
And what about those letter-like symbols that reappear in several images? You
Yeah,
find
there's
anything
some
about
that look
those?
like Cherokee. I mean, look like Cherokee language from from early Cherokee on some of them. But there's these from the birch bark scrolls of Selanduni's book, and so the thought is that these represent the bottom of a boat as it passes through the water, and the bear's, they call it a bear's tongue drawn to represent the bottom of a boat passing across the water. And then there's this one, which the thought is that these are the paddles as the boat is traveling, and it's like this is showing wind, basically the force of wind forcing the sail across the water, like the sailboat. And these represent the oars or the paddles as it goes across the water. So this one is another example of a birch bark scroll, and this was said to be representing the hull and row of oars going across the water. And so this is like the bottom of a boat again, and passing with the crew's oars as it crosses the water, being crew strokes, forcing the boat to be propelled by the paddle of the oars. Now the Burroughs Cave tablets, well,
Let's go.
these are much more clear and sharp images, but these match a lot of Mediterranean style sailboats. And these are 4 examples from Burroughs Cave. Beverly Mosley published this in 2007, and they represent boats, sailboats. So they're pretty intricate and detailed, and a lot of similarity with the oars and sailboats. So these are representing from time period from 900 BC to about 500 BC. Very similar to what we were saying before. And then Florida. In Florida, there's 60 of these metal tablets or medallions. They're made of gold, silver, and copper. Some of them are hammered copper, hammered silver, hammered gold, and they all have this shape. Like the top is a square with a circle and a cross in it, like a sailboat. The bottom has a rounded bottom, and this is like the bottom of a boat. You know the
Can you zoom in? Because I'm not getting those details that you're talking
well,
about.
I mean, so the top, yeah, the top has this cross and circle. This is the basically the sail part of the boat, sailboat, and it's made of copper. This is the one that's pure copper. And then the bottom of the boat, this is rounded down here, and it's like crossing the water. So this is where the boat
Yeah,
would be
because I was
immersed.
only seeing the squares, that looks like a step pyramid. That's the only
Oh.
thing I was seeing. So
Yeah, there's
see.
well, they're all similar in
some
shape. but
alien
they're not-
eyes.
Yeah.
There's some gray alien eyes.
Yeah, like the alien eye shape, these holes and stuff, like they're looking out of the holes.
So
in-
was this a tool? Do we know what this particularly was? Was it worn? What size was it?
These are about 3 inches long,
So
and
particularly it was an adornment, yeah?
some people say they might have been worn on the head like a headdress adornment.
Well, yeah, with the two little holes to attach it to anything, clothing, headdress,
Yeah.
who knows? Yeah.
Yeah,
Necklace, right.
So
But-
if I'm getting your idea clearly, you're saying that above the holes is a sail,
and- yes, and below
and
the hole,
beneath the holes is the hull.
yes, and there's 60 of these. They're made of gold, silver, and copper. There's only four.
Whose sails had crosses?
Oh, that's a good question.
The Templars.
Ah, interesting.
Templars, yes. And
Templars.
somebody's dog has a chewy toy that goes.
Yes.
Sorry, that's my dog. My dog is like.
It's okay, man. I gotta feed mine half my peanuts in order to keep him sitting here behaving. So.
Dogs can't eat peanuts, Jason. They're allergic to peanuts. Don't give peanuts to dogs.
But why do they have all the peanut butter dog treats with real peanut butter in it, Ricardo?
I don't think so, because
Yeah, they do. You can buy them at the store. I've got
Oh,
them for him.
good
He
Lord.
loves peanut butter flavor.
in here the veterinaries never give peanuts to your dog because they can't eat
So
it.
check this out. The dating matches. Look, it has a dating from 1000 BC to 500 BC. This is when they were made, and the cultures where they were found match that same chronology of those other sailboats. But they extend all the way into the Belgrade contact period. So the formative culture, the earlier culture, had started to bury these in mounds, earthworks, and mortuary landscapes, and then they were continuously used all the way through European occupation.
But the thing is, the dates that you are giving for these symbols are from exactly the time. So you gave several times 1500 BC. This is exactly when they stopped going to the Americas. So are these memories that are older than that, or they are just trying to remember what they saw, or some people that stayed and used this as a symbol? I belong to this family, or
Well,
because
I can
this
tell
is
you,
when the boat stopped. That's why the Bronze Age collapsed, because there was no more copper. They stopped coming for some reason to go and get the copper, right? So
Yeah,
Europe
that's a good point.
started to recycle everything they had, mixing. The quality dropped, completely plumped, because they were really trying to scrap every little thing that they could find to keep supplying the copper until the iron finally came in. So I'm finding very interesting the fact that the dates that you are showing are the dates on when they stopped going to the Americas.
yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and they may have been documenting this for their memory. You know, they saw these boats with sails. They were traveling across the water. It must have been amazing, and they made these out of precious metal. You know, gold, silver, and copper, and the incredible thing is the copper is pure, like from Michigan, and the gold and silver have been determined via mass spectroscopy to come from Colombia, Central America. So it's been sourced
Ooh.
to Colombia, and
And is the silver natural? Because
silver.
the silver, there's a lot of silver in native copper mixed. So
Yeah, silver and gold were determined to come from Colombia, and the copper is pure. And so the thought is, well, that's Michigan, so it's widespread travel. We're talking here.
Does that timeline match up because you're going with crosses as on the sails? That's Templars. That wouldn't have been that far back. That would have
well,
been on this side of
De Soto
AD.
would wear red crosses on his sails.
Yes, but that's not. Oh, you're still in 1500 AD. Okay,
Yes.
my bad. I'm in the
Well,
wrong
now,
one.
yeah, I mean,
He's
some of
popping.
these are later,
Okay.
like contact period.
What I'm
So
saying
Okay.
is,
they're not
Would have been
all
11 to 12 with the. Yeah,
BC.
okay.
what I'm
These are
saying is, 1000 BC is far before, far before any
Right,
of the chronicles, right?
right. Oh, yeah.
Far from Columbus, far from De Soto, far from the guy that went from De
Far from the
Soto,
Templars.
far from the Templars. The thing is, the red sails are a constant that reappear and reappear in several parts of the world from
Got it.
times they shouldn't exist,
Got it.
right? And this makes this sense to me, that is, if you are sending people to try and conquer a land, you have to know that land exists. And to know that land exists, you send your ships to find lands, because there is stories, there is legends, there is
Yes.
archives, as you've seen in the Rue book, where in the 1100s they already knew that we lost Vince. In the 1100s, they already knew that there was an America on the other side, because these
Right.
bishops
Right.
run from the Moors to go to the Americas, right? They
Yes.
even set some churches there.
I
So
think probably secret societies for of all different flavors, dude. Not like name it, but secret societies all through history. We know these older source maps exist that we can see, like the Orontius Phineas maps and all these old maps that show the way the world would have looked during the Ice Age. Somebody was mapping this stuff, man. And if it was the cataclysm, whatever it was, these maps would have probably been places like the Library of Alexandria, like places that as soon as anyone who realized the power that was in that map, they would have kept it secure and for
of
themselves,
course.
and that means secret societies. So for long times, that's why you have rumors of people from Egypt. You have rumors of people from all over, Arthur legend. I mean, just name the culture, and you've got rumors and even some evidence of them coming to this continent because they had knowledge, they had maps.
And the thing is, people say, oh, the Templars came much older than that, so you can't be crosses, Templar crosses. Well, my friends, who tells you that the Templars were the first to use the cross? Why
Right,
did they choose to use the cross? It's not because
right,
of Christ,
right.
because Christ was crucified, but that was a common practice. He was not the first, far from
Well,
it, and he
there's
was
Native
not the last.
American crosses all over
All
medicine
over the
wheels.
place, right?
Yeah.
But what caused those crosses? And that's what I think it's the root of the thing, because these people that were exploring were already using this symbol. It changes hands, it changes titles, it changes cults, but it's always with the same root, with the same purpose. There is gather artifacts, gather history, map the world. Because if you have a cataclysm, right,
Yeah.
you want to remap the world again. You know while the waters rose and so on and so forth. You want to keep that so that your maps keep dated, right? Again,
Yes.
I cannot emphasize enough. When I was talking to the person on the occult rejects, talking with the guy that was one of the main on Gunung Padang, and he was about to go into underwater expedition in Indonesia, and he showed us the images on that video of a massive, even compared to today's, bigger than that. Any port that you can find today in the modern world, it was bigger than that, and it was 60 meters beneath the water. And you can't escape the fact that those 60 meters were only above water 10 plus thousand years ago.
Right.
So
Right.
they back then they were have huge boat traffic,
Yes.
enormous.
Yes.
So who knows if those people were already using crosses, the people that organized, the people that mapped, the sage, whatever you want to call them, the watchers, the Templars, call them wherever you want to call them, but the symbols didn't change. What changed was the sects, was the politics, was the chain of command. But the mission remained always the same: gather, control, obtain, right? It's always the same. Control this power.
Yes.
So when we say the Templars is the face that we have, but who knows how they were called before that? So it's that symbol that permeates at least 30,000 years we've seen crosses, right?
Yes,
So
yes. I mean, there's what you describe is, I think, something in our modern world, man. Nobody could look at our modern world and not see that there are, and without any labels, it doesn't matter what side of anything you're on, that you could easily see in this modern world, there are groups, there are cabals, there are associations of like-minded elite individuals, right? There are all
or
these
fighting
things.
against each other.
Right, fighting against each other, fighting for power, fighting for secrets, right? Now, I want you to just take yourself back, right? Let's go back 1,000 years, okay? Now, humans are the same, okay? The technology is a little different. Maybe not everybody knows the whole world, maybe because we did lose those maps and that knowledge after the cataclysm, right? Now you've got a group that's going, hey, man, they don't know this. The rest of this shit's here, okay? We're going to keep this quiet, and we do, right? So you very easily see a group then coalescing power around that knowledge, right? And keeping it from the masses. Just as today, we know for a fact there are certain technologies that exist that are not available in the public realm whatsoever. They are banned from being in the public realm, but they exist and humans are using them, governments are using them, right? Okay, same thing. People go, wow, how could you not know America's there? And some people do. Well, just like that. Just like how there's lots of people that know what the COVID shot was before they gave it to you. And now lots of people 10 years later are just now learning, right? But that's
And there's
how.
people that still don't want to learn it, but
Right.
that's another story.
That's another story. Now, I don't believe your maps, damn it. But I went, look, here's a feather. Is there.
Look, one of the things that in my research for my upcoming book that doesn't have a title, but it's almost complete. I just don't know how to pass chapter 24. But one of the things I noticed is the sea peoples come exactly at this time, at this collapse. And so consider that you have hundreds, maybe thousands of boats going to the Americas, getting copper and other things, and bringing them to Europe. If all of a sudden that shuts down, what are you going to do with hundreds, possibly thousands of ships that were crossing the Atlantic and maybe going everywhere else, right? What are you going to do to those ships? What are you going to do to the people that lived from that job?
Right.
Why do you have these many cities that we today call the Phoenicians? Well, the Phoenicians never existed. There are no Phoenicians. That's the name the Greeks gave them. They are several cultures, different gods, different religions, different societies that had this organization between them. They were traders, but those are those that settled down. What about those that were the middle guy, the guy that worked on the boats? What happens to them? You take their jobs by a political decision that either or a catastrophe, but you cannot go in there and get more material to sell here. So what happens to all those people? I'm not saying that all of the sea peoples were these travelers that had the boats and knew the oceans, but I'm saying that a large percentage from my research seems to be that these peoples that we call the sea peoples were this boat-based living completely crossing from one side to the other to bring in goods outside of the Mediterranean, inside the Mediterranean, in the Indic, in the Pacific probably. I don't know that, but probably. And all of a sudden, they are all out of a job. Right? So imagine today an entire city where all factories shut down and people get out of their jobs. They're going to start stealing. They are revolted. They're going to take everything down and pillage and destroy because they are revolted, because their way of life was destroyed by, it doesn't exist anymore, right? And
Right.
Carthage and all the other, what we call Phoenician cities, couldn't harbor all these people, right? They were trying to settle other places, like Hanno in 54 BC. He was taking 3,000 people in boats to create new cities along the African coast. So carry on, Vince, because I'm starting to rant, so I got to shut up.
Sorry about that. I got disconnected. The internet was off for a second. But yeah, this is now the Wexstone. I mean, the Wexstone tablet was found in the Merrimack, Missouri confluence near St. Louis, Missouri. So this was found back in 1889, and it was cast by Frank Masry. Frank Masry lent it to Eichenberger, who was a head archaeologist dealing with casting. So he made a cast of it and a replica out of resin, and engraved including the engravings that were on it. And it has the depiction of a sailing double gunwale sailing vessel. This was identified by Lee Pennington as a double gunwale sailing vessel with the rig with a sail. And underneath that, there's a panther, a mountain lion god, a Kirin, a whirlwind, and so this has been confirmed to be a representation of a sailing vessel. And so this goes back to the time of Confucius, and when they had the Kirin. So this is like 500 BC time frame, and this sailing vessel, see 900 to 500 BC. It's about the same time as the other ones we were looking at.
Just want
So
to
this
say,
is
if people want to hear from Lee Pennington, we have 3 videos with him on this channel, so you can go and look for it.
Wow. So the reading is, here we have a hatch sail shape with the amazing discovery of American waterways. This is convincing evidence of an ancient sailing vessel. Near Cahokia Mountains in Missouri, on the border of Illinois and Missouri. But this one, overall, the reading is that we have Dewey glyphs, we have Burroughs Cave, the Wexstone, and the Copper Medallion that all converge. So, like, this is quadruple, 4 things converging on the same dates that are around 1000 BC to 500 BC, and even in that range when these boats were sailing, and they were finding evidence from across the country of transatlantic voyages. And it doesn't get any better than that.
No, it's excellent work, Vince. And you know what comes to my mind, honestly, and my feeling, and hear this the correct way, Vince. I'm over people that don't understand that we had boats, right? I'm over
Yes.
people that find it to be such a shocking idea that we had traveled. You know, I hold in my hand here, this is a rock, right, with a hole in it. And when you're in person, you can really look down in it and see the different wear marks. And I want to ask you something, Ricardo. If you and I were on the side of the creek, right, and the button fell off one of my clothes, and I'm like, hey, Ricardo, listen, I need a new button, okay? And all we have is rocks. I need you to figure out how to make me a button, right? Let's think about what we could do to make this today, Ricardo. You and I, if we were out there without our modern tools, how long would it take us to sort out how to do this to a stone, right? Okay.
Several days at the minimum.
Yeah, fuck off. Be out there for a year going, it broke. You know?
God damn it!
It'd take us a month just to figure out how to get through it without shattering the whole thing, man. Let alone make it look the right,
Well,
get it
you know that they had this.
But my point was, right, any society that has that brain and that can do that with a piece of stone, something we struggle with today, why do we find it so shocking and so like impossible that we have to sit here and go, we found evidence, right? That with wood and with natural materials, they had boats. Like, why is that such a? I'm just over it being a big deal. You know what I mean?
Well, it is because if people were sailing the oceans 1000 BC, 2000 BC, 4000
But they
BC,
were.
10,000 BC, then
The
it takes
DNA proves it.
yeah, but then it takes
In
the
Australia,
credit.
in South America, it's a fact.
It takes
the
the credit of
Polynesian
Europeans.
DNA.
It takes the credit of Europeans.
I don't give a shit. Do you?
Well,
Yeah,
the,
it seems like that. Yeah, they wanted so long to prove that this is an isolated country. They had no contact with outsiders. That
And it's all a lie. And I don't like lies. You know, I'm over them. I'm
I know.
over secrets. It's like, why? Why are you forcing a human being to try to accept that we didn't have a boat when we were doing this with a rock? That's just
Yeah.
silly and stupid and frankly insulting, Vince. You know, it's like
Yeah,
insulting as a human being.
but they have very good grounds because the first person apparently that discovered America never saw it,
This is true.
never reached America.
And he was a trustworthy child rapist and murderer, so much so that they took him back to his home country in chains. Yeah, he was a great dude. That's why we believe him and have Columbus Day as a holiday. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of believing that human beings
I don't
had
get why you say
boats
it
and
doesn't make
explored
sense.
this earth.
Why doesn't
The
it make sense?
DNA,
Of
come
course.
on, guys. The DNA, the Polynesian DNA in South America. You cannot. There's only one way that happens is if you cross water. There's only one way the Polynesian DNA gets in Australia, and that's if you cross water. So either they fucking flew in UFOs or they had boats. Now, which makes more logical sense? Which feels good to you as a human being? I'd build a raft if I was stuck on an island, and I bet with 100,000 years to do it, I'd probably have some slick ass sails with red crosses on them too.
Oh, ye of little faith, Jason. Oh, ye of little faith. Because how can you say something like that? They didn't need boats nor flying saucers. Because Jesus said, all that I do, you can do too. So they just walked on the water.
Walked on water. Well, that would have been before Jesus, man. That was before he told everybody. Greater, and the phrasing was greater things than I will do. Yes, absolutely. But that'd have been early. That'd have been before he pioneered the whole walking on water aspect.
So take a look at this. Wilmington Mound relics. Well, Wilmington, Ohio.
I'm just hoping that he pre-planned in a dodging bullet power as well. So that's
Sorry, Vince.
Okay, so back in 1879 to 1880, in Wilmington, Ohio, this place called Todd's Fork in Highland County, they found some amazing artifacts. And there was an excavation and it's found where they found this. It was a banner stone made with engravings on it. And it looks like one's holding a spear, an axe with a banner stone, crescent banner stone, an axe, crescent banner stone over here. There's a grid pattern on this side, and then almost a yin and yang symbol with a pie figure. And this is a double notched butterfly banner stone. The original was made of purple banded slate, and it had been cast by Warren Moorhead back in 1890. Warren Moorhead cast it out of plaster, and the plaster cast was donated to the Smithsonian, where I photographed it at the Smithsonian collection vaults. So I did a tour there, and this was found with the Richardson tablet, a few feet away from the Richardson tablet, which is another famous Adena tablet. So one of the big issues with this is, well, how can an archaic banner stone be associated with an Adena tablet? Archaeologists couldn't understand that, but this helps to try to explain that, and that these were continuously collected, and the culture passed these down through generations, and there's evidence supporting that here. So I'll show that as we go along. So discovery.
Vince, you have to put your scribe on the comments, please. So that
Okay.
because I think you have all of this online and available, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So want me to share the link to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
To your scribe, because you'll find much more than this.
You mean like in comments for the group?
Yeah.
Okay.
The chat,
Yeah.
the public
I'm
chat.
I'm sending it now. Okay. So what we have is we'll talk about what was found, what was claimed. We'll have the discovery record, the 6 relics that were found. We'll talk about the farmer's collection, the claims on trial, and the investigation, the verdict, and opposing views. I've included that just to show what the opposing views are, and then the credits and the change log as we went through this. So, starting out with what was found. Well, on January 31st, 1879, J.M. Richardson, assisted by John Jones, found the Richardson tablet in the left hand of a skeleton, face down, in a boulder-defined vault in Sparks Mound, about 3.5 miles from Wilmington, Ohio. And then on February 12th, 1879, in an adjacent area in the same vault, they found the Welch butterfly banner stone. And they also found copper spools, preserved cordage from the South Linton farm, and they found a carved Celter axe from the Fitzhugh farm. They found woven cloth from Cooper Mound in Highland County. So the engravings were amazing. They were reported in many places, and they made a they made a print run about the pamphlet to just document this find, and it was also published in the American Antiquarian at the time and the Oriental Journal. They had this on many newspaper articles. It really was a sensational find. And so this one.
Sorry, chat. Sorry.
So the things that were amazing were some people. I mean, this could deal with navigation, writing system, native writing was something that they said. Well, natives didn't have any writing; they didn't have a written language, so writing was like outlawed. They couldn't acknowledge it, and then so this is basically proof that
Butt
they did
flaps running on the prairies.
right. So
Little children.
So the Welch butterfly, again, found, it was like less than 15 days later, they found when they found the Richardson tablet, that they found the Welch butterfly. They found copper spools, the Fitzhugh axe, and the woven cloth. And I'll show examples of what these look like. So the Welch butterfly had engravings on both sides. One of the sides had this grid pattern, and the human, it looks like a Asian faced person with a hat on, and then the other side has a female figure almost with libation cup or dropping dots of liquid onto the mound like they're doing a libation ceremony. And they have a panther, a serpent, an alligator, and a face looking up out of the mound at the alligator, like looking into a mirror almost. And so these are really interesting things.
Ricardo said I can't give you more peanuts, man.
And
He's mad at you, Ricardo.
well, so the Richardson,
mad than sick.
All my dogs have always eaten peanut butter. I don't know, man, but okay. Sorry, Vincent.
Maybe
okay.
the process of making the peanut butter takes the toxin that does bad to the dogs. I don't know.
Maybe.
So take a look at this. The Richardson tablet. It has these engravings on it. It's amazing. It's very intricate, and there's cross hatching. There's like, it almost looks like a serpentine body.
Very South American, no?
Yeah, South American or Central American. And then it has these notches like a calendar. There's been
What is
some.
the image to the right?
This is copper spool. This was basically created from the description of the copper ear spools that were found, and they had been described to have a cordage, like a preserved cordage with them. So they were wrapped in cordage that was found with the copper spools. And then there was a celt with a female head and a death's head made of greenstone. This is again recorded in the journals. It's at the Fitzhugh farm. They found this. This was reconstructed from the description. They also found woven.
Who decided that's a female head?
Well, it's an AI, representation, but the actual article said it looked like a female head,
Okay.
and then a death's head underneath it.
So
That
just
looks
to
like
clarify,
half a spider or cyclops with a comb
Yeah.
over.
I mean, it's an AI image. These are just created.
oh, that
from-
image is not the actual artifact? It's
No.
just okay.
These are AI creations from the narrative that was written down.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I was looking to the actual artifact.
The other ones were, but these two are recreations. So now these are actual artifacts that are found on the site. So this kind of gives an idea of what overlaid the same site around Sparks Mound that was in the plow zone, scatter, collected on site. And I met with the farmer back in 2007, and he showed me what he had found there. And he told me about this banner stone. This is a double-edged banner stone that he drew a picture of. He said when he was a kid, he found it on the mound, and he gave it to his teacher to ask her about it, and then it got lost somehow. He never got it back, and he always regretted that. He drew this from memory of what it looked like, and this is a known artifact class called a double-edged banner stone. These date from 6,000 BC to about 4,000 BC. And then check out this, a giant ball, stone ball,
This, Ricardo. Sorry, man.
like a game ball. There were celts, pestles, and game balls. And then there's surface finds. They found a lot of arrowheads and a giant celt. This one here is a preformed celt, but it was apparently being worked into a sharpened bit on this end and the celt shape. These artifacts were found, and they go from Clovis. There were Clovis points all the way through early woodland period, and the majority of these are around 2000 BC time frame. So this is the archaeological signal shown on the timeline. And well, the idea is that the banner stone could have been like an astrolabe or a cross staff used to determine their latitude and longitude. William Smith was a navigation researcher, and he proposed this as a hypothesis that what they're depicting on the banner stone is actually a navigation technique about how to determine their latitude and longitude on the Earth. And he showed how it worked.
Not
Vincent,
longitude,
please excuse
Vince.
all of my yawning and audience. It has been a very long day, and I didn't get back home until about 1 a.m. last night, and I was laboring until then. So please, it's not
That's
anything
okay.
personal. Okay.
Well,
So-
the tablet itself has these notches on the back of it, like they were made as grooves to sharpen a bone awl. And so these were grooves. This is the actual back of the tablet. Jeffrey Wilson deserves credit for these because he took these pictures. And the sides of the tablet have a engraved line and pattern on them. There's cross hatching. It looks like a giant spear basically going around all the edges on all sides of the tablet. And see the spear encircles the tablet and then comes to a point on this side, which has a literally like a spear point, another spear point, and then a circle with the dot in it. So this is very elaborate engraving, and these engravings go all the way around the outside edge of the tablet itself.
They're kind of coiled serpents, right?
Yeah, like a coiled serpent encircling the edges of the tablet. And well, the thought is this ties into the banner stone with the spear, because this could be like a representation of the spear encircling the tablet. So they're like pillars that support the authenticity of each other. And the chronology with the other banner stones ties in well. stone ball is possibly associated with the game, this game they played a game ball with, and so the ball game was used in the Mayan, um, colonial Maya also.
It was more like head game, but yeah, it's less
Yeah, they would
grotesque
throw.
if you say it's a ball because it was a head.
No, the ball. I mean the giant stone sphere ball that I took a picture of, is what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I
The
mean the game they played with a human head.
Oh, they would do that to you.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking about this round ball,
Hmm.
but they may have used human head. I don't know. I mean, I heard sometimes they would use the ball and they bounce it off
Yeah,
their
not always heads, but
shoulders.
I'm just saying sometimes they play with human heads. They have
Oh,
records of that.
wow. So then the engraving and all this comes together really neatly because uh, the different engravings seem to correlate uh, to a there's a tattooing or bone sharpening pattern that correlates with the other tablets. These may have been for scarification or tattooing or bloodletting, and oftentimes they would do that when they played the ball game. Um, there's two archaeologists that said these are forgeries. They actually accused them of forging these and planting them in the mound.
Of
They
course.
accused the two that found them. They said Smith and Penny. They judged these as 19th century forgeries, and they said it was because they're unlike anything else. And then so they went on and I discussed this with them, and I said, "Well, what about all these other engravings?" They said, "Well, I don't wish to talk about it. I'm not going to discuss it anymore." And so they basically
That
they just
unlike anything else bullshit is some of the most harmful things when it comes to the Native American culture, man. Because we have not found half of what there is to find. I mean, I think of stuff behind me now, Vincent, that, I mean, just the simplest little shit, right? I don't know how to shape quartz like that, Vincent. I
yeah.
don't have that skill, but I found it, and I hadn't found any more in any books anywhere. I mean, it even sits up by itself. Okay, so where's
Yeah.
that in a book, Vincent? Nowhere, but can I help it that it came out of a mound by mobility, got washed out because construction has started to erode the mound? I can't help that either, right? But I can it's not in a book. It's
I
dangerous, y'all.
know.
It's
Yeah.
just dangerous. If I mean, I go back to the young man, when I was just starting to explore, right, Vincent, and I find this stuff, and I go look in a book and go, I can't find it in a book, but I know a man did this, right? This was done by hands of someone, right? And if I'd have listened to the book, I'd have just given up. If I'd have listened to all the people that said, well, that's not native. Well, then what is it? Because I found it amongst native stuff. It's just, it would have stopped me in my tracks, man. That's why
Yeah.
this narrative is so dangerous. It's just so dangerous.
Yeah, and to say some things can't be real because it's unusual or different, it's so short-sighted and doesn't acknowledge that their
It's
culture
it's
was
it's like
different.
Chinese. Have you seen what they call writing?
Yeah,
It's a complete forgery. It's completely different.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
It's like right. It's nonsense. And these things are the things that really stand about this. According to AI, these are the things that stand up about it. Well, the setting is real. The banner stones are real. The Adena tablets are real. The copper and artifacts are real. The animal imagery is real. The iconographic comparison is real. But then they say, well, they didn't like that it was potentially Mayan engravings on this. They said opposing views. These are the two archaeologists that think it's fake. This guy A.G. Smith was 1961. He denounced it as fake, flat rejection. He said the reason why he said that the banner stone was real, but then it had been defaced by the engraving. So he claims someone actually defaced it. And I mean, there was no study done, no microscopy, no use wear or anything. He just said he thinks that it was defaced real banner stone. So then David Penny, the other archaeologist, he said, oh, it's just unusual. It's different than anything else. There's no other precedent like it. He compared it to the Michigan relics. He's like, oh, they're all hoaxes, so that could be a hoax too. So basically, then denounced it. And so I pressed him. I'm like, hey, well, what about these other artifacts? And he said, well, I'm not interested in discussing it any further. And so that was it. And so they're open.
It's when you know you're
Other
heading in the right
people.
direction, when the experts are no longer interested in discussing it with your ass.
Stop bothering people, Vince.
Yeah.
You
They are in
blocked
their
me before I
lives.
ever even heard of you. Damn, I must be on to something.
Because they have their books, they have their teachers, they have their academic ways, and you come and disrupt all of that. Just
Right? How dare we use our liberty and our agency as human beings to fight for our own
All-
free right to exist here upon Earth?
all because of this.
You didn't pay $40,000 to get a piece of paper that said you read enough books, Vince. Okay? I paid $80,000 and I got a piece of paper that says I read enough books, damn it. Okay? Get out of here with your human curiosity and your ability to go out into the real world and find facts about what I've got books on. Okay, mister? That's why
I
I'm
can
an
write
expert.
books. You want a book? I can write you a book.
It's like, man, I'm studying. You know, the questions we have are about the world. Do
polish
not
and
come at
everything.
me with an answer from a book. You know, like come out here in the world with me and come look at it, and then give me your answer, please, because I have a feeling, you know, you're not going to be able to have give me the
but
answer
Jason,
you do from
Jason,
afar when you go. But the book says, no, man. Reality says.
But Jason, if you get to a point where they actually go there to watch it, they only go there with the predetermined objective
I
of
know.
telling you
I know.
that that's nothing.
I know. That's why I don't ever get any comments because that's why we've got 80 people that watch this show and 3 that talk, Ricardo, because the rest of them are just going, they're gonna fuck up. We're gonna, Unfortunately, no, we're not. And unfortunately, we're right. You know, not to be prideful and
We-
toot our horns,
well,
but
we-
we've put
we
in the
might
work
not-
to say so.
We might not be exactly right, but we are following the evidence at least.
In our respective fields, we have put in the time and effort, just as any person who has paid enough money to read enough books. We have put in the time and the effort out here in the real world, engaged with the real work of it, you know, and it does give us some authority on the matter. I don't need anybody to reference it, but leave me alone and don't come at me with your authority if you're not going to recognize my authority, you know, but we don't need it. We've got our own authority, and we're creating our own authority in our own organization. So, you know.
You go to these sites where they created artwork on the rocks. Sometimes it's faces, sometimes it's other things, right? Oh, it's all pareidolia, right? And if they go to the site,
What a
And say-
terrible life that must be, man. To,
yeah,
not
and
be able
go
to
to
see
the
this
site,
shit.
they look at it, and it's like they're looking at, imagine a car, right? You just bring a car in front of them and showing, this is your pareidolia, right? It's a car. And they said, no, it's just an illusion. There's no car. Can you go through it? Can you go through my illusion? Right? Because it's there. It's right in front of you, right? It's clearly distant of everything else that is natural. It is being worked, right? In this specific place, they have this. Probably it's Tecumseh, because Tecumseh was blinded from one eye, right? And this statue has that eye closed, like just a strip, right? But you can see the nose, the other eye, the mouth is open, like the Indians say they're singing, and no, it's all pareidolia. It's like, and how about the marker trees? Oh, they're just buckrubs. 150 of them,
See, it's like
150 90-degree angles are all buckrubs.
pareidolia, right, Vincent? It looks like a face, right? You can kind of say it looks like a face, and it's pareidolia. But then you really zoom in and you go, Yeah, Paradoia etched an eye right where the eye goes, and Paradoia cleaned all of this out because naturally, yeah, to be in a world where you can't comprehend that human beings worked with stone, just like we work with these technologies in our hand now. Okay, they went 100,000 years with fucking stone, all right, and wood. If you can't comprehend what they did with that and what that meant to the world that they lived in, then I feel for you, because your imagination and your view of what human life is and was must be pretty shabby and must be pretty gray and dull. Perhaps you've been listening to modern world a bit too much.
So yeah, and I wanted to share the link to my latest work on the Mount Pisgah site in chat for anybody who wants to dig into it. It's almost 200 pages long now, but there's a lot of really interesting information here, and some of the things that I found are incredible, like the fact that archaeologists made up a story about these. They actually made up a story that was not true, and they've changed history by doing that.
Sure.
That's the thing, and everybody believes. So if all these people that go and read books, guess what? Guess who wrote those books, right? The people that came before, and the people that came before had an agenda. It was just talking here about North America, they had an agenda. They had to keep the land claims valid. That was sent out from Washington, D.C. when Lewis and Clark went out. I mean, this was suppress all things native advanced, right? It was just a known quantity. Now, that gets put into your book. They're going to tell you that story and put it in your book. Now, you're going to read that book and stand in front of me today and argue me and tell me I'm fucking retarded because I didn't read the book that some guy purposefully lied to you in 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm the retard. Right? I don't.
It's That's why I was showing this. So when you look at this, right, you are trying to explain, well, I found this, and it seems to have a purpose. Look, it has features, and I think we can study it and see what it does. And you say that's just a piece of plastic.
Yep.
Yes, it is made of plastic, but that's just a piece of plastic. Look, goddammit, it does like this, and it goes like this, right?
Fucking balances and shit all on its own.
And the guy says, look, that's just your pareidolia.
It's just a rock.
It's just a piece
Plastic.
of plastic. It happens to do that, yeah, but no, it's completely natural.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay, but I found 15 of them within 10 feet of each other. And that's when you get blocked. You go. I learned that a long time ago, Vincent. I just show one of something, like, hey,
no,
could this have happened naturally?
When you do this, and they immediately block you. So,
yeah, exactly. That's it. Then you get blocked. That's what happens, man. How could one of these happen? Well, it's rare, but it could happen, okay? Just shut up. That's natural. Really? So could 4 of them happen in separate stones all next to each other? Block. Okay, and that's just how you learn, man.
It's not just the blocking. The blocking doesn't affect me. What affects me in that attitude?
It's how I know I'm headed the right direction, bro.
No, what affects me in that attitude is that they will pass on the information from their perspective. Can you imagine today I have this asshole, this idiot, trying to show to me these things that were completely natural, right? There's
actually,
nothing
he said I look like Jesus, so I'll take the compliment. I mean, but he was spicy, that's for sure. They get attitudes. It's pride.
So he wanted to convert, or he's Antichrist?
No, he's atheist, and so to him it was an insult, I guess. But to me, I was like, well, he is my role model.
Well, I have to say that I disagree. You are much more like John the Baptist, because you're always on the river.
Always out there. Tommy Tiernan, he had a great line. He's like, when you go to Mass and you've got this perfect priest, he's like, I don't want that. That doesn't do anything for me. I want a wild John the Baptist heretic. Comes into town once a month, naked, on the back of an arse, with fucking shoving bees, honey up his... Yeah.
And if you go to him,
what I'm going for, dude.
He throws it you in the water.
Yeah, I forgot some honey. Yeah. That was it. Sucking honey out of a bee's arse. That was the line. I want my priest to look like decisions he's made has had consequences on his face. Anyhow.
But they can't pass. They can't pass the material source of these artifacts, right? And all the rest is fake because they can't pass it. That's why I gave that example. Oh, that's just a plastic. But look, it doesn't. It's just a plastic. It's coincidence. Look, it's perfectly fits the phone. Look, I can even oriented the phone. Yeah, it's very, very curious. I must admit, it's very curious, but it's still just a piece of plastic.
Yep.
It has hinges. Oh, you can't imagine what nature can do by itself.
I was going to say, where are my natural iron concretions with, carbonated wood in the middle and shapes on the outside, and of course there's the rose sword hilt, which I keep put up in here, which again is a natural iron concretion. Oh, there's this one. This is a cool hollow natural iron concretion. But the one that's really cool that I keep way back here is, did you know that natural iron concretions come shaped like flowers and that they have several different metal alloys in them when you break it and it comes apart? I did not know that, but I tell you what, man, you learn some things when you go telling people who are looking for something that you found it. You learn a lot that you didn't know that's not in books.
Jason, you are not a geologist, right? You are not a geologist. Where's your diploma? What are you talking about?
I'm not, man, but I also...
Leave it to the experts.
I also know what nature can do and what nature
You know where I've seen pieces like that one that you are holding? I've seen pieces like that, but made of ivory.
They're everywhere. They shape the quartz. It's like this everywhere. It meant something to them, this shape, for sure, man. And to go to the trouble to make one that balances is, quite impressive.
And there is a few native standing stones to mark solstice and so on that are on that more or less shape.
Oh, can you imagine if they'd had if they'd made mini clocks or something, and this was their mini standing stone?
Yeah, it's that one is very similar to the one cool. in what was called Spirit Lake until until the mother priest comes there and says, "This is not Spirit Lake, this is Devil's Lake." So today is called as Devil. Did they change it constantly from spirit to devil? Yeah. Or something good to evil. Why changing the names, right? Vince, are you still with us? You're yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
So any closing thoughts?
Well, the interesting thing, another thing I've learned about this case on the Mount Pisgah relics is there's a study done by Alexandra Fay in 2026. She's been researching the Code of Indian Offenses and the number of catalog cases per year and completely documented all the catalog cases that were charged in the Code of Indian Offenses. There were 1,565 cases charged against natives for violating the Code of Indian Offenses based on the rules that were just set forth in 1883. And there was, of those, 14 dealt with these Mount Pisgah relics and the medicine conjuring cases. So what I'm trying to do next is determine who was it that was charged with medicine and conjuring using these Mount Pisgah relics and things to conjure up rainstorms and be medicine men in creating, rain and bringing rain events. So this is a real doctoral person from Michigan that's documenting this, and Alexander Fay has done this huge study, and coordinating this is exciting to be able to show that. Well, in fact, these are real things that happened with the government, and they were documenting this all along and determining who was charged with these crimes, and things like conjuring or dances. They would charge people with Indian offenses for practicing native dances and
That's why they created the powwows, because they couldn't do their dances anymore.
Yeah.
They had to disguise the ceremonies.
I know. I know, and that goes to the heart of what we're saying. You know, they've been shut down. Their culture has been shut down intentionally from day one, right? And that doesn't make it anybody's fault. You know, I know I was a little worked up earlier because it's kind of, you know, it is how I feel. But I also, at the same time, am well aware it's nobody's fault that is under the narrative. I was under the narrative, right? But, you know, you just got to be willing to come out from under it and come look at the real world and, you know, get that mind open.
Yeah. What I think, what they can't live with is that we can be here debating facts, evidence, leads, and we can debate them and extrapolate them.
Right.
And they just can't do it. If
Well,
it isn't
yeah.
assumed, they just can't do any imaginary work.
Right.
It's just have to follow the protocol, and that protocol is not scientific. It doesn't follow the scientific method.
It limits the
follows-
scientific process.
It follows what's been written before, and if a piece was declared to be a forgery without any testing, as Vince has showed us again and again,
Yep.
told to be a forgery without any testing,
Yep.
right?
Right.
Even pieces that were found in undisturbed soil under slabs of stone
Yep.
were deemed to be false when all other pieces on the same layer were considered to
Right.
be real.
Right.
Authentic. Yeah.
So that's not science. Let's test
No,
Right.
this is 1,000 pages of the book. There is the Forbidden History of. I can't remember his name now, but the book is called Forbidden History. Right? It's the same thing. Look at that.
it. See, I'm just artifacts, man. You know. See, they can't do that either. They can't just go out in the wild in the creeks
And make mushrooms?
and
No,
find
no, you can't
artifacts
make
and
mushrooms.
put them together. And they were probably never joined before, but they were both obviously worked by man. And now here we sit today, you know, appreciating that and holding that and absorbing what was in that.
It should be mandatory at Fridays. Last course should be 5 grams of mushrooms. Now go home and rethink your life.
I think Graham Hancock, in that last interview of his, I heard him say that every world leader, if you're going to ask me honestly, should be required to take 10 DMT trips. And the guy said, why? Because when they, after that, they'll be the right kind of leaders. He said, after that, they won't want to be politicians.
Michael Cremo, yes, thank you. That's the name. My chat is completely insane. It's going up and down, up and
It's
down.
Riverside. Mine does it too. You got to scroll up. When you try to scroll all the way down and keep up with it, it does that shit. So scroll
Yeah.
up one, and you can't read the last chat, though.
I can't read the last one.
I know. That's why I've gotten in the habit in my little show. I'll keep my cursor in there, and I'll just dot.
Sarah,
I can
it's
speed it
time.
up.
It's time for another slipper.
We
thrown
need
into
a letter.
Riverside.
We need another letter. Please email to Riverside. That this chat shit is untenable, because if I'm trying to, for instance, right now, Screwdriver, I can't even read. When they release the damn downhill over chalk or salt. Okay, say I want to put that up, right? And so the audience can see it. I can't click it because it won't stay still. So somebody else has to say something before it jumps up one.
I did it.
Yeah,
I
but
had
it's
to
like a
click-
game. Right?
Yeah.
It's like a video game. And when you're here by yourself, that is just Riverside. Sarah, cut and splice this, send it to him, okay? This is bullshit. Sarah will handle it, y'all. You do not want Sarah writing letters to you. I can promise you that. Because you're going to give it to your boss real quick, because you're not going to want it on your table.
That's why she's our director for public relations. She relates the public.
She does. I don't know what you think this fucking shit is, but I've had it, Riverside. You know, and they're just, what? What is that? Big smile on her face. Flip-flop in hand.
You seeing this one? The other 3 are already flying towards you.
These are Jason's size 14, motherfucker duck. Vincent, thank you so very much, as always, for coming on here and enlightening us and showing us your diligence and all of your efforts to
It's a
hold.
shame that we give you this platform so you can come here and try and teach us something, and you come empty-handed, week after week after
Week
week,
after week after
not,
week. Yeah.
nothing to show.
Sitting here taking on the Smithsonian and Cahokia Mound Management Society, and
All these innocent people.
no, you didn't have a permit, damn it.
Well, take a look at this. There's one more thing I wanted to share. This is a map that was written in about 1700 in French, but I used AI to translate it to English. So this is the place called Hochelaga, and it's a clean structure, like symbolism. Each of these represent a plaza and the houses of the chiefs in the clan. So they're surrounded by a palisaded fence on both sides, and each of these represents different houses in the city. There's the chief's house. This is called the Chief Agrosa. Well, that means chief. Well, chief. So I guess they were indicating who were the chiefs in their village, and well, it turns out that the clan structure of the of the Cherokee and the Creek and Ocmulgee Creek, they use the same structure. They use it currently in Oklahoma, and they use it at Garden Creek. So there's a continuity here, and it goes back to prehistoric times, and it was documented here in the 1700s in New France, all the way in Ontario. It's documented in current practice in Oklahoma. So this is a ongoing culture. It didn't end. It's continuing on. It's renewal, and it's been continued by the eternal flame that was passed on from one generation to the next.
Is that palisade built
Excellent.
in a triangle, like opposing poles with one in the middle and one at the bottom to keep the
Yeah,
distance?
that's right. This is like a palisade with
Yeah.
crisscrossing poles.
It's like a Quidditch stadium,
Never seen such a thing. Yeah.
Harry Potter Quidditch stadium. Oh, Vincent, thank you. Listen, I'm not trying to rush you, but this is actually about my 6th hour in this chair podcasting today. So, and Jacob is quite ready for his walk, and
And I'm falling asleep.
you're falling asleep. Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
I'm trying not to do the same. Thank you so much, Vincent.
And
Listen,
Vince,
as
I will look into your material, okay? I'm sorry, but I'll look at it tomorrow.
yes. We all owe each other something. It's been a crazy week on all fronts with everybody, but that's intentionally. We're laying some foundations here, man, and this is what you got to do that. Speaking of those foundations, if you like what you've seen so far, or from any of us anywhere at the Institute for Natural Philosophy, come see us at our Institute Discord first of all, because Sarah and the girls, I noticed, decided to really start publicizing that. And we've got a pretty decent little Discord set up over there where we all hang out and keep up with each other. And basically 24/7, there's somebody to chat with. So come find us at the Institute for Natural Philosophy Discord. You can find Universe Unveiled on X, and they've got the post going. I just shared it. We all shared it. So if you too are an independent researcher, artist, activist, musician, anybody out here that believes you have something that is important to the whole, then reach out to us. We want to talk to you. Ricardo, what are we doing tomorrow?
We're telling the people that go to Discord with their ideas that they're wrong. Go and read books. Stop being fools.
We welcome you. We welcome you. Bring good intent and bring yourself. Bring bullshit, and I will lay down the banhammer and, probably not listen to anything you have to say after that, because we're about moving this whole thing forward and nothing other than that. We love each other. We hang out. We have fun. We joke, but we also share our work, and we share personal things. So we have no time for BS. But if other than that, then come be a part of it, guys.
And tomorrow we'll probably go and read a little bit of the Soto Chronicles. I don't know if Jason will have the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing a recording. I think a recording at 1. I hope it's not live. I don't mess up again. Dave's got a 911 truther, and I was, Vince, if you didn't know, I was on the ground there at 9/11. I lived in New York City. So I'm going to go listen to a 9/11 truther at 12 my time. And if we
Tricky
don't have...
waters. Tricky waters.
There's nothing... What? I mean, who believes the narrative on that, dude? It's just
Oh,
like the
lots
rest
of
stuff.
people. Even last week I had a discussion with people showing me, picking
I
up
was
articles and
there.
showing me.
I was there, so I'll
Like,
just,
you
come
know
at
how
me
it
with
was
that.
proven-
Were you there? And then we can talk. That's how I go at them.
You know how I was proven I was wrong? Because it Googled it. Who caused the attacks on 9/11? And then he showed to me. You see what is written here?
Dude, did you know the picture? The guy that took the picture of George W. Bush. When he was that morning, he was in an elementary school reading a book,
Yeah.
and a guy came to him and
said,
told
"It's
him
done."
It's not right. And they took that picture. Okay, do you know who took the picture of President Trump? The famous picture of the bullet flying by his head at the Butler assassination.
The same guy?
Same guy. Same guy.
Well, he's always on the right spot.
It's coincidence, right? It's always
Yeah.
coincidence.
Maybe it takes
man.
some planning.
Maybe it does, as our saying goes. But I was there in 9/11, so I have my own personal attachment, and
saw
I
any
went through my own
planes?
trauma. No, I was asleep. I got woken up, and what I had reported to me by my roommate banging on the wall next to my bed was, "Dude, wake up! They bombed the Pentagon, hit the World Trade Center." And we had heard there was like a missile or something involved at the Pentagon. We thought it was a
Yes.
bomb or a missile, right? And they cut all
plane.
communications in New York immediately, like after that. So then all we have is two smoking buildings in front of us until they fall, and F-18 scrambling overhead. So we thought we were at war, is what we thought until like late that
Right,
night.
while the beaten planes were taking off
Right. Yeah.
with all the family out of the States. The only planes authorized to fly after the no-fly.
Yeah, and then I watched those two buildings collapse, and I watched that smoke. Slowly the smoke reached our apartment. We had to shut the door, and I watched that obliteration happen and people jumping. And then I totally believed it when they told me that in all that mess, they found two passports to identify the pilots from the plane.
One of them in
I
the
was
other
like,
building.
That's wild. You can't even find the
Untouched.
pieces of the people that were
Untouched.
there at work, but you found untouched passports. That's totally fucking believable.
Well, we're...
Anyway,
We're
we dive
going.
Can you
Okay.
tell I haven't slept much? I'm just running my
Yeah,
mouth. I
yeah,
don't know what I'm talking about. Of course it was Osama bin Laden from his cave. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So, thank you
I'm
all.
sorry, I said I would never lie. Don't strike me. Okay, it wasn't Osama bin Laden. It was an inside job. It was an inside job. Leave me alone. No. I'm getting warmed up for my own show.
With that bombshell, a very fond farewell to you all. Thank you very
night.
much. Good night.